Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I don't know where you are joining in from, but I want to welcome you to this very, very important broadcast that I bring to you today. This is going to be one of those packed full presentation. So please, I'd like us to populate the platform as soon as we can. Go ahead and hit your share button. Let others know that I am live right now. And I got some very, very critical information that I bring to you today. So please, we want to see as soon as possible, let the platform be populated. This is very, very critical. Very, very critical. And plus I have other packed announcements and information that I like to bring to you what is going on ground zero, and of course the revolution as a whole. So please, let's get the platform populated as soon as possible so I can come to you with this great presentation. Thank you, Comfort, for that comment with my tie. Okay. So please, 1,000 people in 10 minutes, and I will come to you with this presentation. Again, this is very, very, very critical. Let me know that the sound quality is good, please. Let me know that the sound quality is okay. All right. Let me start with some very important announcements that I have here. I'm sure you have already heard of the March of the Women. The March of the Women taking place, coming up on the, I think that is January the 5th. January the 5th in Washington, D.C. The march involves all, the women. It's organized by all the women and the Takumbeng women of the revolution. The women of our imprisoned leaders. Sisiko's wife is there. Power and Force, I think wife, and also is there. Quite a number of those women organizing this march. On January 5th now, what happens is January 5th happens to be the anniversary of the abduction of Sisiko and others. And so their wives have put this event together in Washington, D.C. to commemorate their abduction. Every Ambazonian, I think this is happening in other locations too, in Europe and of course, and the U.S., Asia too. So, every woman and man, this is not a woman event. It is called a woman march just because women are at the forefront of this event. And so, everybody, especially if you live around Delaware, New York, Baltimore, Virginia, North Carolina, everyone who has the interests of this revolution at heart, you are required to be in Washington, D.C. to commemorate the abduction, the 1-year anniversary abduction of our leaders who are still in detention in French Cameroon today. So please, this event again is coming up on the 5th, on January 5th, and it is taking place at the White House. There are going to be 2 events on that day. There will be a fundraiser, and there will also be the march. The march at the White House. Everyone, please. Those of you living at the DMV area, show up and stand behind those women, Sisiko's wife and the other women who are organizing this event, and of course the Takumbe women who are organizing this event, to show solidarity with them as we remember, all of us as a country, remember the abduction of our leaders and also take a petition to President Trump. So please, again, the date is January the 5th, and the venue is the White House. The time shall be announced, but know that it is January 5th, and the venue is the White House, and the time will be announced one of these days. So please go ahead and spread the news of this event. Go ahead and spread the news of this event, please. I'd like to know, I'm not sure whether my audio here is good enough, but let me see. Please go ahead and hit your share button. Let the numbers grow. Okay. So please hit your share button as I bring you more of these announcements. Please hit your share button. The moment I get 1,000 people, which we should do that in the next 7 minutes, I will come to you with the announcement. Very, very important, very, very critical too. But before I do that again, I just want to remind you of this event coming up on January the 5th. We call it the March of the Women, but it is not meant only for women. It is meant for every Ambazonian. We call it March of the Women because it is being organized by the wives of our abducted leaders, including Sisiko's wife. They shall all be speaking at that event that is taking place on January the 5th. And venue is the White House. So please, I cannot receive calls now if anybody is trying to call. For more information on this event, you can call the following numbers. Call Eric Tato. For more information at 202. Somebody print it on your screen, please. I don't have the capability to do so. Print it on your screen. So call Eric Tato at 202-390-2247. You can call that number to get some more information about the January 5th event. You can also call Secretary Kalesh Bongo at 240-425-2240. Again, you can also call Secretary Kalesh Bongo at 240-425-2240. Another number you can call. Please put these numbers on your screen and hit your share button. You can also call Victorine Bolanga at 703-967-9752. Again, that number is 703-967-9752. Now, these are the numbers that you can call to find out more information about the Women March taking place at the White House, in front of the White House, on January the 5th. Again, this is being organized in commemoration of the 1-year anniversary of the abduction of our leaders in Nigeria. So please, you go ahead and pass that information around, and everybody will want to see at least 10,000 Ambazonians in front of the White House on January the 5th to remember and commemorate the abduction of Sisiko and the cabinet that they have in prison, in detention right now. All right. Now I have other very important announcements to bring to you, and you must have learned of French Cameroon distributing some humanitarian items especially house construction items in Kumba and other parts of Ambazonia. La Republic has loaded zinc, transported zinc, wood, plank to towns in the southwest region, trying to appease those whose homes were burned. And they are putting this on video to send to the international community that the war is over, and now they are focused on humanitarian efforts, trying to compensate those who lost property. Now, this is the message that we here at the interim government would like everybody on ground zero, especially those affected, to know. What is zinc? What is plan that you would take for a house that was burned down? We are appealing to every Ambazonian, do not go for peanuts when you lost millions. When this war would have been over, we can assure you that each and every one of you who lost property, there shall be a compensation, and La Republic du Cameroon shall pay fully for what they inflicted upon you. And so we do not want you to get engaged in some activity, taking some zinc and plank to your homes, and then they take the message away that they are beginning to compensate you for your property. Please, every Ambazonian out there, do not accept any humanitarian gifts from French Cameroon. They don't beat you and you are still crying, and they're trying to give you food. Please let us reject it. Reject any gift, any zinc, any wood, any food that is brought to you from La Republique du Cameroon. That is our decision here. Do not accept anything from La Republique du Cameroon right now. The war is still on. They are trying to pass the message across the world that the war is over, that they have quelled the war. They have made our forces to lay down their arms, and the war is over. Please let us not give them that message. Let's not allow them to pass that message to anybody around the world. So please, do not accept anything from La Republique du Cameroon. I want to welcome those of you who are joining. Let me see who is joining. Please hit your share button. In the next 5 minutes, we need to make 1,000 people for me to bring you this presentation. And welcome Fisher and King. It's great to see you. You are always here on this platform. Say, Chris, I dare here. LRC, we hear from us. I miss the other part. Thank you. I see Ping Ann. I see Castrola Bistrano. My body, always here. Good to see you. Nelly Nair is always here too. Wine Morgue, thank you for joining. So I salute you, Secretary Chris. Thank you. Banky, I miss the other name, but at least I mentioned your name. Enes Asoba, watching from the United Kingdom. Obama Y, I see you. Say hi, Chris. Thank you for joining. Desmond Elliott, yes, see you, sir. You're always here too. Rani Albert, I see you. Info Etok, I see you. Ayinko Vera, Ebo Secretary, greetings. Thank you, Vera. I see also Tenola George. Now, so many of them. Please go ahead. Do not delay the presentation. This is going to be revelational. I'm sure you understand what that word means. This is going to be exclusive. So please, I am not bringing you the broadcast to you populate this screen with 1,000 people. Elvis Ambassad, I thank you, sir. Tebong Fongang watching. Tapang Victoria. Celia in Ship. Wow, your last name is tough to pronounce. Ate Free, I see you. Sarah Fulbright, Amber Bolifember, Homeboy Elvis, Bia Muhebe, Ndiko, Ambazonia Greatness, Sala Diodone, Ve Imbong, Ebot Ashu, Favor, Shao Mao, Marcel Insom, Bakoma Emmanuel, Jonas Chi, Tembeng Elvis. Hit your share button. And while you do that, let me bring you some more information here. I want to talk about Scan Radio a little bit. I'm sure you have all heard about Scan Radio. Scan Radio is on for full disclosure by yours truly. And I have been working on Scan Radio ever since 2016. 2016. Finally, it is a reality right now. And it is coming to you from ground zero, not from the diaspora. The diaspora can be very intoxicated at times, but it is coming to you all the way from ground zero. And the only thing you need to do to be able to receive Scan Radio is to go to the App Store and Apple Store, download the app, Scan Radio, and once you download and install it, you should be able to start receiving Scan Radio wherever you are in the world, where there is internet. There are no boundaries. If you have regular radio, please don't expect to receive Scan Radio on any regular radio, not even in your car. You can only receive Scan Radio by downloading the app into your phone, your tablet, or your computer. Over 10,000 people have already downloaded the app. Right now, it is live from ground zero. Our goal is to bring you news 24/7 through Scan Radio. We have so much intoxication on the social media, and we are looking for this avenue to use it to bring you real news. Anything you hear on Scan Radio is no fake news. It is real news. On Scan Radio, you will listen to commentary. You will listen to interviews. Of course, music too. Of course, 90% of content on the revolution, Ambazonian revolution. All right. Hit your share button. The numbers are rising. This presentation is very, very, very critical. Hit your share button, please. Now, let me also mention, this is very important, something that La République du Cameroun is trying to do. Most of you have listened to the distress calls that I sent out in the last 2 days. French Cameroon is under pressure, tremendous pressure, to end this war and defeat us on or before March 30th. And what La République du Cameroun is doing now, they are putting out cosmetic solutions. First, they said they release some people that would not know whom they release. Secondly, they asked for a laying down of our arms. And now thirdly, what is happening is we got news this morning that in Yaoundé, as they are fighting in Libya, there is a source in the Ministry of Defense who informed us that the military has printed Red Dragons t-shirts and they label it Red Dragon/ASC. And what they plan on doing is to gather some boys wherever they get the boys. They will gather the boys, have them put on the t-shirt titled Red Dragons ASC. Now you will recall that in one of their raids in Libya, the French Cameroon soldiers were able to run away, confiscate some of the 2 cannons, that locally made cannon, they call it Nkrange. If you are from Libya, that gun is called Nkrange. That's how they call it. So they confiscated 2 of those Nkrange cannons and took to Yaoundé. What La République is about doing is printing those t-shirts, labeling them Red Dragons ASC. They will give those cannons and other den guns for some young people they randomly pick to take videos and take photographs and present them as Red Dragons surrendering or laying down their arms to La République du Cameroun. We want to warn you, there is nothing like Red Dragons surrendering, laying down their arms. When you see, or if you see anything like that, know that it is fake. It is fake. And all that Yaoundé is trying to do is for Paul Biya to, in 2 days, New Year's Eve, go out and deliver a message to the effect that he has successfully stopped the war, brought the war to an end. That is what they are trying to do. We must deny them that speech of declaring an end to this war. The war is not over until every single French Cameroon troop or soldier is pulled out from our streets. The war is not over until our leaders, Sisiko, Julius Ayoktabe and others, are out of detention unconditionally. Unconditionally. Those are the conditions. So even if Mr. Biya should go on television on New Year's Eve and say he decrees an end to the war, we should not be fooled. This war must continue until every French Cameroon institution is pulled out of Ambazonia. We are on a journey where there is no turning back. This war must be prosecuted to the end, no matter what Paul Biya says on New Year's Eve. Paul Biya, we have realized, he is not ready to call for dialogue, the dialogue that everybody is expecting from him. He wants to end the war on his own terms. We must deny him that victory speech on New Year's Eve. Every restoration force out there, let there be mayhem, let there be a hurricane everywhere in Ambazonia until this New Year's is over. We will deny Paul Biya that victory speech on New Year's Eve. So when you see any video popping up, any pictures popping up of red dragons laying down their arms and surrendering to La République du Cameroon, know that they are fake. There is nothing like that. I'm sure you have heard of the news coming out of the BLM. They are fighting like hell, and they are not ready to hear their name blackmailed for laying down their arms. All right. Now, this is also very important. I also want to make a comment on the something that Eric Tato put out yesterday during his presentation. Eric Tato, I know he did not mean to pass out wrong information, but I think the way it was labeled, it was wrongly labeled. Eric Tato did not mean to say that he spoke with Sisiko or with any of them in detention, in prison. So when Eric Tato said he had breaking news from the president, that title was misleading. Not intentionally, I believe, but I really think that he didn't mean to say that. Nobody is able to communicate with Sisiko except very, very close family members who are allowed to see him. And so nobody can say he or she is speaking or communicating with any one of them in detention. And so I just wanted to correct this. Let us know that Sisiko and others, they only have abilities to speak or communicate with their close family members and not anybody, not even in this interim government. That is very important. And of course, I also want to remind you that coming up in 2 days, our acting president, Dr. Samuel Sako, shall be delivering a very, very important and powerful speech on New Year's Eve. We want you to glue to ABC and to what other gadgets that you have. It is going to be powerful. It is going to lay down the roadmap for 2019. And so that is going to be a very, very, very important speech. So I think I have exhausted this, but before I take you to the presentation, I just want to remind you again of the January 5th Women's March coming up at the White House in Washington, D.C. to commemorate the abduction of Sisiko and others in Nigeria on January 5th, 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it is the moment I bring you this broadcast. Please stay tuned. Do not touch any mouse or any remote in your hands. Welcome back. At this moment, I can't hold you any longer. I am going straight away to bring you the presentation. In the meantime, please keep on hitting your share button as the presentation comes to you. Again, keep on hitting your share button as the presentation comes to you. Give me one moment here, please. Okay, go ahead, keep on hitting your share button as I bring you the presentation, please. I am so excited to come to you with this presentation today. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Ambazonians. I really didn't want to remind you again that we are at the most critical moment in our revolution. Now take note of the word. I didn't say we are at the most important moment. I said the most critical moment. The emphasis here is on the word critical, as in dangerous, perilous, and grave. We are at a deciding moment. The moment from where one can clearly predict the result, the outcome of this struggle. The moment is critical for two reasons. Number one, we have made so much progress, so many gains to the effect that should we renege or God forbid be betrayed, or we lay down our arms and our resolve, then all those gains we have accrued politically, diplomatically, militarily would have disappeared in the twinkle of an eye. But the moment is more critical because, as some of you are already aware, it now appears that we have two fronts to deal with in this struggle to regain our country, Ambazonia. Until very recently, we thought that the only front that we have to deal with is French Cameroon. But going by events of recent days, it is but obvious that we are having another front to deal with, or other than French Cameroon. And this other front is even more dangerous because it is an enemy within the house. But make no mistake and blow no alarm. This interim government is up to the task. We are capable of crushing any obstacle that wants to raise its ugly head on the path to Boya. Because for us, getting to Boya is a do or die issue. It's a matter of life and death. The interim government shall confront every challenge, every detractor, sell out, and nuisances that pop up to seek to frustrate this revolution and to derail it. We shall do so with all of the might that this interim government has bestowed upon it by you, the people of Ambazonia. Fellow Ambazonians, this interim government, you are all aware, is a product of Skakuf, the Southern Cameroon Consortium United Front transformed into the Governing Council, and the Governing Council evolved into the interim government by the making of a cross-section of Ambazonians representing all the regional and county heads, plus the different stakeholders in the revolution. By the different stakeholders, I am referring to groups like Morris, AGC, SCNC, SCAPO, SCYR, ALIM, RAO, among others. You will recall that the main idea behind the evolution from SCACUF to the IG was to build a united formation, a unique umbrella under which all Ambazonian nationalist groups militate and push this struggle. It aimed at bringing all Ambazonians together under the umbrella for effective coordination and support system. It was a lofty idea if it had materialized exactly as planned. But it didn't. It didn't because those who wanted just the driver's seat but didn't get it have since derailed the dream. You have all been witnesses to the inundated calls for unity and collaboration between the groups and your interim government. Permit me to say to you that it really isn't supposed to be so at this moment, not at this time when we are seeing tremendous opportunities ahead. Other groups were supposed to have joined hands with the interim government to collaborate and unite. This is supposed to be the moment we are all strategizing on how to confront our common enemy. But no, it doesn't appear to be so. So many of you have appealed to the interim government to extend a hand of fellowship to all the groups which, for reasons best determined by them, refuse to be part of the interim government from the very beginning. I want to report to you today that as far as collaboration and unity are concerned, the interim government has never been the problem. It has never been the obstacle. It has always been the plan of the interim government to draft those other groups into becoming part of the government. Everybody, I mean every one of these groups were seated at SCACUF before it evolved into the Governing Council. These very groups were equally part of the Governing Council until the fourth conclave. At the fourth conclave, all were invited to sit at the table to decide on the form and the size of the interim government. Most of the group leaders showed up in Nigeria for that fourth conclave and attended other meetings, but won't show up or didn't show up at the venue of the conclave. They have since argued that they were left out, but I would say that they left themselves out, because I was there too. However, this is not to dismiss some of the flaws inherent in the setup of that conclave. But a government was formed with Sisiko Julius Ayoktabe as president. It may interest you to know that the president held back forming his cabinet almost for a month for background efforts to bring into that government leaders of all these other groups. One of them didn't only deny to be a part of the government, but he actually replied Sisiko with a no, and then published it in the public domain. Social media for all to see. That was in the social media for all to see. Another one invoked an injunction. He said, and continues to say, even today, that the only time he would be part of the interim government is if we all go back to that fourth conclave. He has not only subsequently turned down overtures extended to him to join the interim government, he has said repeatedly that in his vocabulary, the interim government doesn't exist. In his stewardship, the acting president, Dr. Samuel Sako, has, like in the time of Sisiko, equally extended invitations to these group leaders on several occasions to form part of the interim government, but to no avail. The culmination was at the AACC last September in Washington, D.C., aptly tagged Unity and Collaboration Conference. The leaders, by no fault of the interim government, arose from that conference without agreeing to unite or collaborate with the interim government in any meaningful way. I would like to also remind you that the ASC initiative was equally created to build collaboration and unity among the groups. The idea was to get all the self-defense groups on same table for better coordination and better management. It was such a great idea that had all the groups come under, such would have been a great deterrent to most of the nuisances that we hear on ground zero, like abductions, kidnappings, ransom takings. You can name the rest. Now, take note, the ASC was never designed for other self-defense leaders to come on table and surrender their groups, not at all. It was formed for cohesion purposes on ground zero. But guess which groups refused to join the ASC? Of course, the same groups that have refused to collaborate with the interim government from the beginning. They have always wanted to do things their own way. They wanted to raise their own money. They wanted to command their own battalions. And they wanted essentially to eventually, as we now know, form their own governments. This is exactly what has stopped unity and collaboration. That is where we are. And that is where the problem of collaboration and unity is. By refusing to work with the interim government and to benefit from the generous donations of Ambazonians towards the war, and by refusing to unite or have their self-defense structures collaborate with the ASC, the drive for funds and the inability to raise such to execute their agenda has led to infiltration within their ranks, specifically the ranks of Cho Ayaba's AGC and the ADF. Mr. Ayaba, we now know beyond any doubt that he has been compromised by the very enemy, French Cameroon, that's supposed to be our common enemy. Mr. Ayaba wasn't compromised because of the interim government, because the interim government denied him a place in the system. No, he compromised because of greed, lust for power and control. The mentality that it is he who gets to boyar first that matters is his problem. About 2 weeks ago, yours truly came to you explaining some of the connections some of his connections with the Republic of Cameroon. I stated clearly that Mr. Ayaba has been in the payroll of French Cameroon through dealings with Chibukete's family in Koba and Paul Atanga Nji, French Cameroon Territorial Administration Minister. But that corruption does not end at the level of compromise. I mean the corruption with the AGC. We have now been able to also determine that most of the social crises emanating from ground zero and which are killing the morale of ground zero comes mostly from the AGC, 60% from Ayaba's ADF forces. About 30% has also been linked to Dr. Ebenezar Akwanga Sokadev and other forces calling themselves the AMF in efforts to raise funds to enrich themselves and fund some of their operations. They instruct their fighters to either abduct or kidnap innocent people before asking for ransoms, which often range from within hundreds of thousands to millions of CFA francs. We have listened to audio recordings, for example, in which the callers refer to themselves as ADF fighters. ADF fighters calling and threatening struggling people on ground zero to make payments as they will be picked up or killed. Many of these incidents have resulted to disappearances, killings, and permanent injuries. Dr. Akwanga is on record, for example, confessing of how his fighters abducted a priest convoy, tortured them before accepting a ransom in the millions, a ransom paid from the church coffers. As if that wasn't enough, in one of his Facebook shows, he ordered the sealing of churches, and his boys dutifully carried out his instructions and sealed the doors of the churches on camera. Dr. Akwanga confessed publicly in his Facebook show again that the money extorted from the Reverend Father would be used to fund the war. The interim government says, hell no. Money extorted in the past may have been used to fund the revolution. But Dr. Akwanga and his boys cannot attack churches and rob them. It is a terrible precedent that this interim government cannot accept. Dr. Akwanga should return the money to the church and tender an apology to the church and the tortured victims. Besides this, there have been so many other abductions, killings, and ransoms allegedly committed by forces under his command. Both Dr. Akwanga, Cho Ayaba, and other forces including the AMF have had a pedigree in these abductions, killings, and ransom takings for quite a while. But why most of what Dr. Akwanga's boys do still remains mostly uncovered. What Cho Ayaba and his ADF have done is a thing of public knowledge. Ayaba is on the record as instructing his ADF boys to capture and force every other self-defense group on ground zero to be subjected to his command using all means. They tried it in Libya, it failed. And 2 weeks ago, they took it to Batebo, where they had previously attacked restoration fighters before coming this time to kill some of the bravest and finest generals, including General Tiger, General Biabia, General Amigo, and some others that we are still investigating. Right now, they are after General Commando, Nambere, and Field Marshal, and other leaders of the revolution not belonging to the AGC or the ADF. All along, it appears that Ayaba's own war has been against other fighting comrades in the revolution rather than against our common enemy, French Cameroon. Ayaba has refused to work with any other group, a situation that could have helped mitigate these excesses. So the question has been, or the question is, What do we do? Allow him and these other forces to continue these crimes with impunity? Allow them to continue to build a collateral damage for the struggle and its genuine leaders? Should we allow him, should we allow Ayaba to continue to pretend he is one of us, but when we know he is compromised by French Cameroon? Do we allow them to kill the morale of the overwhelming Ambazonians who stand for a free and independent Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia? Fellow Ambazonians, this war wasn't meant to be among us. Our fighters were never meant to be fighting each other. But this is exactly what Cho Ayaba has introduced in this struggle. Our populations should not be harassed and feel unsafe in the hands of our own fighters, who should be defending them. Nobody amongst our people, especially on ground zero, should have to fear us or running away from us. They should be running to us for protection and safety. Nobody should be abducted by us. They should be running to us. Our men, our women, and our children, towns, cities, and villages must be safe from fighters who want to fight in the name of Ambazonia but killing our own people. As far as the interim government is concerned, it cannot tolerate these criminalities anymore. Our enemy is La République du Cameroon, and anyone who accepts any form of help or support from them is not with us. He is against us. Anyone who attacks, abducts, and kills, take ransom in the name of Ambazonia fighters is not working for Ambazonia. He is not working for us. He is working against us. That is exactly what the interim government has determined in the case of Cho Ayaba, Dr. Ebenezar Akwanga, and others. We can no longer sit still having others work their blood out, while few persons keep on derailing this struggle. Mr. Ayaba, like Akwanga, has had more than enough invitations to work with the interim government. But while Akwanga has collaborated in many ways with the interim government, Ayaba has chosen not to do so all this while. As a government of the people, we cannot fold our hands and do nothing. Why they take the struggle backward? We have to act to protect the people of Ambazonia and to save the revolution. In view of these crimes and stemming from the Batable killings, and of course that of General Ivo, the interim government summoned a Security Council meeting December the 19th, comprising of members of the ASC, the Restoration Council, and cabinet members. The deliberations were long and heated, but agreement was undisputed that Cho Ayaba takes time off the struggle, seek redemption, and only be readmitted into the stakeholders' fold if he is submitted to the interim government interrogations, show remorse, repentance, and apologize publicly to the Ambazonian people. These are the only circumstances under which this interim government and Ambazonian people will be willing to reconsider Cho Ayaba for any unity and collaboration initiatives. The following measures were taken from that security meeting to restrain Ayaba and others from their excesses and to have Ambazonians rebuild trust in the leadership and the prosecution of the revolution. Number 1, from today, all ADF, SOCADEF, and AMF activities on ground zero are banned. Going forward, there shall be nothing known and called by those names on ground zero. All ADF, AMF, and SOCADEF forces are invited to join their direct county forces and to work as a unit. They are called upon to do so immediately through consultations with the different commanders in different counties. This is the only means by which they can benefit from resources coming from the local government areas. Number 2, no ADF forces are allowed to exist or function in any county and local government in Ambazonia. All local governments and communities are empowered to self-police and devise methods of countering any non-interim government restoration forces operating in its communities. Number 3, the interim government disowns and distances itself from the AGC, its activities, and its leader, Cho Ayaba, and equally condemns and distances itself from any commander engaged in such activities. Moving forward, the AGC shall have no place in all collaborative platform of the interim government. And other nationalist groups still associating or wanting to associate with the AGC will be considered accomplices of the murders perpetrated on the Ambazonian people by these groups. Number 4, the interim government is sending an open communique to all local government areas, worldwide administrators, cautioning them to suspend sponsorship of any activities or initiatives coming from the AGC pending the investigation of alleged gross human rights violations in Guzan, Mogamo, Muyenge, Meme, Indian, and Ekata in Fako, and elsewhere, as well as to notify the federal government of the existence of any self-defense group, term AGCO, associating with the AGC in the local government area on ground zero, for immediate intervention from the federal marshal. Number 5, Ambazonians to remove all AGC surrogates from their fora, block or deny friendship to all AGC members from your social media platforms. Inform AGC members of their inclusion in a watch list as bad actors of the revolution. No sharing of any AGC related posts or material going forward in any Ambazonia fora. Admins should immediately remove any defaulter from the forum. Number 6, Ambazonians all over the diaspora should consider banning all AGC meetings or conventions in our respective countries by reporting intentions of any of such meetings to the local police in the diaspora. Number 7, we urge Ground Zero to collaborate in sending evidences of any non-ADF and other killings and abductions to the interim government using the email support@ambazonia.gov.org. Again, the email is support@ambazonia.gov.org. Again, send any evidence that you find relating to abductions, killings, kidnappings by the ADF and any other group on the ground. Send that information to support. Email address support@ambazonia.gov.org. Support@ambazonia.gov.org. With these measures and others that are still classified, ladies and gentlemen, it is our hope that moving into the new year, sanity would have been restored